Charm City Decoded. I am your host, Sophia Turner. I welcome you all back to a new episode. This episode is going to be about shadow work. Now, the question is, what is shadow work? I've heard this saying over the course of maybe a couple years. I recently started looking up what it means, and I'm going to read to you what it means. Shadow work means it is a type of psychotherapy that focuses on the parts of the psyche that people often keep hidden, such as trauma and resentment. So that's what it means. Now, we all tend to keep hidden certain things about how we feel or what we think when it comes down to different things, or just people in general who we work with, family members that we may have. It could be different things, or trauma, of course. What has happened to us. Now, this kind of like segue. This is like an extension from my last episode when I was talking about when I was basically talking about powerful people and accountability. And speaking of that episode, I have to also inform you that I made an error on President Trump. He was not the 44th president. He actually was the 45th president. And in recent news, he was denied access to being on the ballot in Colorado from the Colorado Supreme Court. So, because of his influence when it came down to January the 6th, what happened on January 6th at the state capitol building, the insurrection. So, due to his participation or his influence in orchestrating or even insinuating for that crowd to go over to the Capitol to try to stop the election from happening, where President Biden would not be the next president, they stated that he actually was a part of the insurrection. So, per the Constitution, Section 3 of the Constitution, when it comes down to, I believe, the 14th Amendment, it says in there that if you are affiliated or have some way influence an insurrection against the United States government or against the Constitution, you are not allowed to hold office. So, Colorado, the Colorado Supreme Court made, their judgment on that, and they said that he's not allowed to be on the ballot. So, now, of course, Trump going to appeal it, and he's going to send it all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court. So, let's see what the outcome going to be to that. Okay, now back to the topic at hand. Shadow work. As I read to you what it is. And now it's about, as they said, it's about your psychotherapy. It's about your psyche. What you're going to let show on the outside. What you prefer to keep in on the inside so others don't see. And sometimes that can be your true self. They have, I believe it's 8 benefits of shadow work. Okay. But before I get to the 8 benefits of shadow work, we're going to first also say, I'm going to give you a little brief history. This psychologist, he's a psychoanalyst. His name is Carl Jung or Wung. Is how you. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. Is Jung. I'm gonna say Wung. Carl Wung, and he first developed the concept. And Wung used the term shadow self. Okay, and to describe the things people repress or do not like to acknowledge. He also theorized that it is a counterweight to the persona, which is the self that people present to others. The counterweight, um, which which is the persona that people present to others. So that's what Mr. Carl Wong came up with. He came up with shadow self, which now is deemed as shadow work. Okay, so, and within this practice of shadow work, when it comes down to a daily practice of you trying to make yourself better, you are understanding who you are. In order to understand who you are, you got to go through certain prompts of figuring out who you are. And you got to ask certain questions about yourself to derive at an answer to understanding self. So you understand that you are important, that you're worthy, that you should not allow no interference in anyone, outside sources, outside people interfere with who you are on the inside and how you portray yourself even on the outside. It's all about accountability with knowing who you are, being honest with who you are. So I'm going to read to you the 8 benefits of shadow work. The first one is gain more confidence and self-esteem. So show up as your full self is basically what it is. Show up as your full self. Now, how do we do that? By looking within, understanding our likes and dislikes, understanding our values and our beliefs, and understanding that you cannot go into a pre-thought on how this person should be or shouldn't be. You should not have no preconceived notions of anyone. You have to focus on self and make sure you are comfortable and you like what you see when you look in the mirror at yourself. Understand that you are deserving of anything and everything that come your way that's good. That's what we all got to understand when it comes down to ourselves. So when it comes down to number 2, that brings me to number 2. Number 2 is improve your creativity. Tap into all of the unique expressions that's hidden. All the unique expressions that's hidden. So how we improve our creativity? By tapping into what we like and don't like. What is it that we need to focus on about what we like? And just try to embrace it where we can advance in it to make it something, make nothing into something, being, not like others, but showing your uniqueness that you could bring to whatever it is that you have an interest in. So improve your creativity. So that's number 2. Number 3 is build better relationships with others. When you stop projecting, you can see others as they are. When you stop projecting, you can see others as they are and build stronger brands and build stronger bonds. So you can't, as I said, have preconceived notions of others. You can't be projecting your likes and dislikes or your morals and your values or your wants or your needs on someone else. You have to understand self and love self first. Figure out what it is who you are and embrace it. And understand that you got to accept others for who they are. Whatever they present to you, you accept it until they show you different. So that's what I take from that. Okay, number 4 is practice self-acceptance. Self-awareness needs to be practiced. Self-awareness, okay? What's self-awareness? Knowing who you are. Building from that. Know what your limits are, know what your heights are, and never put yourself in a box. Never just leave yourself standing in a box. Branch out and figure out. Sometimes you got to become uncomfortable in order for you to figure out what it is you who you are and what it is you want. You got to put yourself in an uncomfortable situation to have a better understanding of self. Self-worth, being conscious of what it is you like and don't like, all that. So that leads me to number 5. Number 5 is discover your hidden talents. Uncover your strength and resources that you didn't realize you had before. Every one of us have a talent. And I know sometimes it's hard for us to figure out what that talent is. But, when you start self-evaluating yourself and asking hard questions, who am I? What do I like? What turns me on? What don't turn me on? What makes me stand out from anyone else? Because you only can stand in your own shoes. You can't stand in nobody else's. So you got to figure out that for yourself. So you got to discover your hidden talents and hone in on it. I think one of my hidden talents is me learning to to empathize and sympathize with people who may be hurting, who may be in a less fortunate than myself, and try to communicate that through trying to use uplifting words to help them to understand that you are deserving. Everyone is deserving in their own way. You just got to figure out what course you need to take in order for you to reach certain goals that will help to put your mind in a position of knowing that you're worthy and not allowing others to come in, slip in, and treat you any kind of way, talk to you any kind of way. So that's what that is. You also have to improve your overall wellness. You got to start tackling the root causes in your wellness journey. The root is the reason for whatever you're feeling, whether you're feeling low, whether you're feeling not worthy, whether you feeling hurt, whether you feeling betrayed, whether you feeling panicky, it's it just, you have to get into the root. It could be that you have sugar diabetes. It could be that you have anything. The root causes to you feeling down and feeling low. You need to really try to understand what the root cause of it is so it can be treated. And once you treat the root cause, then eventually you can heal. It could be you experienced trauma in your life and you need to let it out. Maybe speak to a professional, psychiatrist, psychologist, in order for you to really dig deep inside so you can learn how to forgive, so you can move on. Because you don't forgive for others, you forgive for yourself, for your peace of mind and for your personal happiness. So, improve your overall wellness. That's important. Number 7 is increase your compassion toward others. Reduces projection of others when you interact with others. Me, I know I always, when I was younger, I was an introvert, and I still can be now. where I didn't really talk to others too much. Now, I'm not saying I was rude because my mama didn't raise me to be rude. So if you did speak to me, I spoke back. But I did not intentionally set out to talk to anyone first. I didn't intentionally set, if you asked me to go somewhere, possibly I would say no because I prefer to be up in my room reading a book or watching TV or something like that to myself. I didn't like to have to figure out what to say to this person or that person. I couldn't really hold a long conversation, you know. So my interactions with others was limited. It was. So I'm trying to better myself now that I'm, the age that I am now. I'm a little older. I'm at that middle age mark, so I'm opening up a little bit more, just enough so I can learn how to interact with others, and by me learning how to interact with others, that teaches me also how to treat others to some extent. My mama said, and I was always taught that you treat others the way you like to be treated. That goes along with respect. That's what respect is. But what I'm saying is, everyone is not going to act the same way. Everyone have their own personality. Some can be very, mean-spirited. Others can be very kind-hearted. Some can be in the middle where they just always clowns and comedians. I mean, you just learn how to deal with others just by communicating. Communication is the key to understanding. Because if you have a question and because you're not sure of something, it's best to ask. As they say, no question is a stupid question. Well, in my book, it's not. If you really legitimately not understanding what's going on and you need to have a better understanding of something, then you ask. So that's how I look at it. That's my interpretation of it. So yeah, I'm learning to be a better communicator. I'm learning to have intermingle with others more, interact. So that's one of my things that I'm trying to improve upon when it comes down to my shadow work. Number 8, and this is the last one. It says have better clarity. Shadow work gives you clarity on how your thoughts, emotions, and feelings lead you to act the way you do. I'm going to read that again. Have better clarity. Shadow work gives you clarity on how your thoughts, emotions, and feelings lead you to act the way you do. That's so true. You ever, find yourself reacting off of others because of how they react to you? Like if you know, someone come at you in a way that you may find disrespectful, then you come back at them the same way. Or someone raising their voice at you, so you want to find yourself raising your voice back at them. You feed off of others a lot of the time. We as humans have that fault. We feed off of each other, others' actions. That forms our emotions. That forms how we communicate. So we gotta have better clarity of that. Because as I said, others you can't have preconceived notions on other people. You gotta let accept people for who they are. As Maya Angelou said, when they show you who they are, believe them. That's a true saying. That's so true. We all, gotta accept people for who they are. Like President Trump. He showed us who he was throughout his life. And as the President of the United States, he He didn't show us no different than what he been showing us his whole life. He's a privileged white man living in America who feel that he can do what he want, say what he want, act the way he want, and there's no one there to check him. There's no accountability because he feel that he's right because that's how he was raised. That's how he been living his whole life. But he still showed you who he was. He could be arrogant. He could be mean. He can talk down to you. He can act like he's the best man there ever lived. He can act like he's in your corner. He's your best friend. You know? He can be a bigot. He can be prejudiced. He's sexual predator. He's a sexual assaulter. You know what he said during that audio that he had went around when he was running for the president of the United States the first time. Is that he grabbed women by their PUSSY and felt that was okay. So he been showing us who he was. Some people just don't care about it. They just want what they want from him. They want him to, I guess, do what he's been doing, which is really destroy this country, divide this country. Yeah. So, you got to accept people for who they are. Not trying to change them. You can enlighten them. You can share with them your thoughts and, give them certain facts on certain things that will help to improve them. But it's up to them to accept it and create that change if that's what they choose to do. Because you can't go into any relationship. That's just like you being you just meet someone and y'all vibing, and then as you get further involved with this person, and and you be around them more and more, you start seeing things about them that you just don't like about them. They could be a smoker, but you see that they're a smoker. Oh, I could change that. Oh, you got to stop smoking. I can't be with nobody who's a smoker. But that's how they were smoking when you met them. You chose to get further involved with them, where your feelings get involved because you're thinking that eventually you can get them to stop smoking. If they don't want to stop smoking, they ain't going to stop smoking. It's all about the individual. Every individual have a choice to make for themselves and how they choose to live their life. So I think we all need to improve ourselves in some aspect or another, even if you don't think so. There's always room for improvement, no matter what. Nobody's out here perfect. No one's living a perfect life and they're a perfect person. We all have room for improvement. All of us do. So I would suggest that we all try to do some shadow work on ourselves. And learn ourselves so we can improve upon ourselves and we can make our lives a lot happier. We bring more substance into our lives, more character into our lives, more happiness into our lives when we know who we are. We don't let no one come in and try to mess us around and try to degrade us and make us feel less than and make us feel unimportant. No, we're not going to let that. We're going to have a standard that we live by based off of our values and our beliefs and who we are as a person. And they either rise to us or exceed it, but they do not take away from who we are. We can't let no one do that. I think shadow work is crucial to your personal development. I really do. We long to feel integrated, whole, and complete. That's all of us. That's all of us. So, in order for you to create, another means of shadow work, is like speak affirmations to yourself each day. You can keep a journal and write in your journal on a daily basis. You can look in the mirror and talk to yourself and let them know that you're pretty, you're handsome, you're smart, you're kind, you're intelligent. Speak positivity into yourself. Understand that you're worthy of anything and everything good out here. Don't let no one try to take it away from you. I don't care who they are. I don't care how handsome they are, how sexy they are, how much money they have. Look what Cassie did. Cassie, because she wanted to build her career, she got with a man who abused her for several years, degraded her, made her feel less than. And she's a beautiful woman. And beauty is not only skin deep. You gotta go deeper. Beauty is on the inside, and it helps you to flourish on the outside. But you gotta start within. You gotta love yourself, because without loving yourself, you can't love no one else. So keep that in mind too. This is Charm City Decoded. I'm your host, Sophina Turner. I bid you all a wonderful day. I'll see you next time.